Good evening, everybody. It's Roamin Rich. Thanks for joining me tonight for another episode of 66 Minutes with Roamin Rich. Tonight, got some great guests. You probably all know them. We'll get into that in just a little bit. For those of you tuning in for the first time, this is 66 Minutes, where we talk about all things Route 66 for roughly about an hour. You can catch us on various places: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. If you found us, fantastic. We use a lot of QR codes to make this interactive. It is totally live, totally unscripted. There's no editing. So whatever happens in the show stays in the show. We're talking about the most popular road in the world, Route 66. Tonight's episode is number 11. That's right. For 11 straight weeks, we've been broadcasting this show every Sunday at 7 p.m. So if you're interested in catching the next show, just be here at the same place next week. If you're interested in seeing other shows that we've done, just go to my YouTube channel. Look on live videos, live channel, and you'll see everything there that we've shot so far. We've also got our website back up tonight. We had it down for a little bit. It's just up barely, very rudimentary. If you want to check out hookedonroute66.com, we're going to start adding more stuff to that every week from here on out. Okay, so just want to take a moment and encourage all my fans and subscribers out there to share this video. It's very important to get it out there to all your friends, all the places where you go and talk about Route 66. Put this video out there. It's very helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and also hit that little bell, because that will give you the notifications when I post live. And you don't want to miss any of these videos, do you? Okay, thanks for joining me tonight. We've got Melba Rig and Renee Charles, all the way from Galena, Kansas. Galena is the first city you come to in Kansas on Route 66, and they've got a whopping roughly 13 miles of Route 66 through Kansas. So there's not a lot of miles, but there's tons of smiles. So we're going to get to them in just a little bit. The first segment that we do in the show is my shirt of the day. And tonight I'm wearing my Texas Route 66 Association t-shirt. George is going to show you a quick picture of that real quick. And I'm going to go into why I love this shirt and why I love the Texas Association. So the Texas Association, they've been doing all sorts of great stuff the last couple of years. Just a couple of years ago, they redid the little bug ranch there in Conway, Texas. Maybe we can show some pictures of that. Here's the picture of the day. There we go. That's the picture of my t-shirt right there. You can see all the various cities are represented on that t-shirt that are along Route 66 in Texas. Let's show the bug ranch if we get a chance, guys. The bug ranch, we got a before and after picture, I believe, of what it looked like. That's the after picture. Maybe you can see the before picture. So this is kind of like a little Cadillac ranch, except for it was bugs, and people had just tore them all to heck. They really did a number on them. And we had it up for a second. Maybe we can try again. There it is. All right. Hopping all over the place today. So yeah, that is the bug ranch. That was taken in about 2010. And it was looking pretty bad back then. And a couple of years ago, the Texas Route 66 Association decided to do some restoration work on those bugs. Let's take a look at that next picture. And you'll see Gary Daggett and Andy Maroney here putting up a new bug ranch sign. And they went through and painted all the bugs. And they actually put some new doors and stuff on some of the bugs where somebody ripped the doors off, which it's very unfortunate. It's pretty sad, but there's the bug ranch. I'm sure it looks totally different today. People probably went back to graffitiing it and vandalizing it and stuff, because I think that's encouraged in that section. But there's that. Up next, one of their projects that they're undertaking right now in Texas is the Phillips 66 gas station in McLean, Texas. Let's show the picture there. Now, McLean, Texas, for those of you that don't know, was the last town on Route 66 in Texas to be bypassed. And I think, excuse me, I think that happened, gosh, 82 or 84. Somebody out there probably knows. I think it was 84 when McLean was bypassed. Now, McLean was such a busy town that you had 4 lanes of traffic. You had one-way direction, 2 lanes going westbound, and then you had 2 lanes going one direction eastbound. And it was a kind of a hub, so to speak. It was a big town with a lot of stuff going on. Now, if you go to there today, I'm going to choose my words very carefully because I used the word ghost town a few years back when I was doing a live video there. I was exploring the town at night on my one wheel, and I used the word ghost town, and boy, I thought that I was going to have a lynching. Let's post a link to that video so people can check it out. It really is a neat video where I go around all over McLean, Texas, and it's not McLean, it's McLean, as if it's McLain. That's how they say it down there. So when you go through McLean, Texas, if you say it like that, they're going to know you're not immediately an outsider. If you say McLean, they're going to know you're some sort of Yankee or somebody. So anyway, check out that video. It was really entertaining. It was on Facebook a number of years ago. It racked up, I don't know, 40, 50,000 views pretty quick because of all the people that were hating on me. It was quite entertaining, actually. Also, the Texas Association this year, let's see here, October 6th and 7th, they've got a motor tour. Now, Texas is kind of a short little jaunt across Route 66, the panhandle of Texas. And I think they're going to be covering all the miles that they have there. I think they're going to do the whole route from the New Mexico border all the way over to Oklahoma. Not sure which direction they're going, but I think they're going to cover everything. Details below in that QR code. Click on that, and maybe you can join us. I think my family and I are going to be down there for the motor tour. It's going to be a lot of fun. In October should be very pleasant as far as weather and stuff goes. Okay. Other than that, that's my shirt. I'm wearing this pretty cool hat here. I picked out this hat because of the Native American accents, the Aztec accents that are in it. This is a Lane Frost hat. For those of you that didn't catch episode number 9, I talked about Lane Frost and what an inspirational figure he was. And this is one of those hats, and I really like this hat a lot. So, okay, that's it. In addition to that, on episode 9, we've got Rich Henry, which he manages to pull a first in that episode, but I'll let you figure out what that was when you go check it out. Okay, we're going to get into the part of the show that you all came to see. We're going to bring out the 2 most popular sisters on Route 66 in Kansas, Melba and Renee.
Hi, Rich.
Hey, hey, good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, you guys are awfully quiet tonight.
It's going really good.
Here we go. Yeah. So, what brings you to the show tonight? How are things cooking in Kansas?
They're cooking. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You bring us to the show. We really enjoy the show, and we're glad you asked us to join you.
Well, I appreciate that. For those out there who are watching, you know, I try really hard to get these things cooked up and well organized. It didn't happen the last couple of weeks because I was out on the road. But I spoke with Rick Freeland the other night. Actually, 2 nights ago, Rick Freeland was like, you know who I'd really like to see on your show? And he said, Melba and Renee. And I said, you know what? I think it's a great idea. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to call them up and see if they'll do it. And last minute's notice, you guys came on. So thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Well, you're welcome. This is cool. I enjoy it. I watched all the shows so far. And he actually taught me some things I didn't know. It's really cool.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So I haven't been reading over the chat stuff yet. We've got our chat up on the screen now. So people are going to start interacting and saying stuff. So maybe George might pop in every once in a while because I don't always look over at the screen. I try to look at the camera as much as possible. But so, you know, when I first came to on Route 66, I want to say it was right around 2003 or 2004 when I came through Kansas. and it was kind of desolate looking. There
Right.
wasn't much. Can you tell me kind of what's happened?
You could call it a ghost town. We won't ride you on that. Yeah.
We call it that.
I think what really triggered the growth in Galena is the movie Cars and us finding Toe Tater. Because
Wait a second. You said toe tater?
yeah,
Explain to the folks out there who may or may not know what a toe tater is.
We had a contest when we found the truck and got it back. We had a contest and we asked the kids in the local area to color him and give him a name so we wouldn't infringe on the rights of Disney. So we did.
Pixar.
Yeah, Pixar. She's Pixar. So when she's gonna do this all the way through the show, you guys, so just get used to it. Okay, that's what sisters do. But anyway, so we had the contest and we just had it in the Fourth State area. Well, we thought we just had it in the Fourth State area. It got on the internet. We had 291 entries come in to rename this truck. And I think the farthest one was South Africa. So,
Really? South Africa?
South Africa. So a little girl from Galena, she named the truck Toe Tater. The 4 women on the route voted on it, and that's what we call him. We call him Toe Tater, the inspiration for Tomater.
Okay, finally she answered your question. Toe Tater is the inspiration for Tomater from the movie Cars.
I was getting there.
I know.
Okay.
You went a long way around it.
That's just what I did.
So just to elaborate, we can see it in the video overlay. Toe Tater's sitting right next to the building right there.
Yes.
And he's an old international tow truck. And he's that's the truck that inspired the character, part of the character Tomater in the movie Cars, because we all know that the movie goes in much, much deeper than that. It's not just a car, it's a personality.
It's personality. And he's really a boom truck. That's what they call him around here because Galena's a mining town. They mine Galena lead, or they did. And the big boom on the back of the truck would haul the heavy equipment out of the mines, and so they call him a boom truck. So, but when Pixar came through, his boom was all the way up, and there was a tree growing through the center of it. When Joe Raff saw it, like Michael said, they're from California. They thought it was a tow truck. So, but yeah, it's a boom truck.
And Michael told us that he looked at Joe and he says, "Now, Joe, that's a character." And I think Joe said, "Yeah. That's a character. I just can't see the movie made without Tomater. I just can't."
Yeah. Now for the people that don't know, Joe Ramp, I think he passed away before the movie came out, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
In a car accident.
Yeah, that was pretty sad. He was highly instrumental in the success of that movie and the characters.
Actually.
Yeah, he's very creative. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how everything was developed. In fact, while we're talking about Joe, and this is totally random and spontaneous, quick little tidbit. So the fire truck that was in the movie Cars, some people,
yeah.
Go ahead, Melba. I'm going to acquiesce to you. You go ahead and tell everybody the story.
Yeah, well, that's why he was quiet and he cried all the time. It was in respect for Joe's passing.
Yeah. We understood that Joe wanted to be the voice of Red, so that's how we understood it. He wanted to be the voice, but you notice in the movie Red don't talk, and he's sad a lot. So.
And just a little tidbit: he was the voice of the caterpillar in Buzz Life.
Yeah, I think he was also the penguin in Toy Story. Yeah, so that quick little tidbit of information, that's why the fire truck was quiet in the movie Cars, was in remembrance of Joe Ramp. Okay, well, so a little bit more about Tomater. Did you know when Toe Tater, do you know when he was last used? Does anybody know the history of Toe Tater?
Well, so when we was told that the truck was parked on that property, when me and the dingling back here, we was going to make that property a farmer's market because Galena doesn't have a grocery store. We're one of those cities in Kansas that's a food desert. Of course, Joplin's just 7 miles east of us, but we was going to make it a farmer's market, and my boss said, "Do what you want to do with it." So we started cleaning it up, and a gentleman came and told us that the truck that inspired Tomater was parked on this property. And so me and my sister looked at each other, and Mom said, "To who?" And he said, "Tomater in the movie Cars." So we went and showered up because we was pretty nasty cleaning that building up. And we went and watched the movie and came back. And Tomater, of course, Larry the Cable Guy reminds us of our Uncle Charlie like big time. So we came and I hunted my boss down, who was Larry Courtney, and said, "Hey, you got to go see the movie Cars. This gentleman told us this truck that was parked here is the inspiration." And Larry said, "Well, I know what truck they're talking about because he had sold the property and the truck was there because Galena said it, the building was an eyesore and he needed to clean it up. So instead of cleaning it up, he sold the property. The guy sold it back to him, but the truck wasn't there. So we had to drive around looking for the truck. Me and my friend, my work buddy, Charlie McCumber, and I was driving around, and Larry told us he found the truck. It was in a farmer's field. The farmer was using the boom to haul those big round bales of hay from one side of the pasture to the other. And funny enough, the hood was completely gone over on the other side of the pasture. So when Larry found it, because he went to see the movie after we harassed him, he just cracked up because he said, "Now I get it." So yeah, that was the last time it was used. Well, we took it to, I think it was Litchfield, Illinois.
Litchfield.
That was quite a ride.
That was quite, yeah.
And I think we took it to one parade in 2010 and found out that it didn't have a master cylinder anymore, so the brakes would not stop. So poor John Simon, who was our truck driver at the time, said, "I'm not driving this truck no more." So it's been parked ever since then.
And little story, if you watch the movie and everybody waits to the end, Tomater finally finds his hood when he goes fishing,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
That's in the very bottom. This is so funny. The farmer came up after we parked Tater. The farmer that had it came up and says, "I got something for you." I said, "What?" He says, "The hood." And he brought the hood in. I said, "Where did you find it?" He says, "You're not going to believe it." I said, "Sure, try me." He says, "It was on the bank of the creek." I thought that was just so cool. I said, "Thank you." And he's had his hood ever since.
That's pretty good. So did that actually make it into the movie? Is that how that ended up in the movie? Or is
Yeah,
that just
I don't
At
coincidence?
the very end of the movie, he's fishing and he fishes his hood out of the river, out of the lake.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember he's like, "I found my hood."
Yeah.
So I found the hood. So that was kind of funny. The farmer actually found the hood that was missing on the bank of a creek.
I was a little confused.
So that was funny, yeah. And then, I loved you too.
Aw, yeah.
So tell me about that Tomater, the one that's up on the screen right now.
So when Four Women, when Miss Betty passed away, who was our inspiration at Four Women, she was the heart of Four Women. When she passed away, Larry and his wife divorced, and so I ended up with most of the shares, well, all of the shares of Four Women, and I'm just a poor civil servant here, and so I didn't have the money. So a dear friend of mine came in and I had a hamburger at the shop and said, "This is a pretty cool place. What are you gonna do with it?" And I said, I'm struggling because it's just me. And he said, "Well, you need a partner." And I said, "Yeah." So him and he's got other partners, and they don't like to have their name put out there too often. They said, "We'll help you out. We'll pay all the bills and we'll help you out, get you out of debt or whatever." And he said, "But you got to do one thing." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Change the name." This is Melba's favorite story.
This is my favorite story. Yeah. So we had two guys. There's Four Women Root. We got two brand new investors, and they just happened to be guys. They wouldn't wear pink, so we had to rename it Cars on the Root.
So when we got these new partners, they brought in the parade truck because they were just blown away. There was a big name politician that came in that knew these two partners from Kansas, and he was saying, "Well, this is a nice town. We hadn't had our Main Street done yet." He said, "Well, this is a nice town," and our partner said, "Yeah." He said, "You wait till you get down to Cars on the Route and you see how many people visit this site." And just as they was turning on 7th Street, off of 7th Street onto our Main Street, the original route, Brian said, "Cue the motorcycles," because he didn't know, but there was Dave Wicklund had just brought a group of motorcycles from Chicago heading to California, and there's probably about 30 of them, and they was all just parking all around cars, and this guy was blown away. So he kept saying, well, I don't see it, I don't see it. So they brought Tomater, the parade vehicle is what we call it. They brought it in, and we said we were grateful, because it's hard to tell somebody when you don't speak Chinese or Norwegian or German or
Italian,
any
Spanish,
kind, when you don't speak it, to explain this is the inspiration for Tomaters, So we said, so we point at Totater and say, this is this. And so it's easier to explain it that way to me.
Really, what we did it for is because all the kids would come up and say, that's not Mater. He ain't got no teeth.
Yeah, whatever.
So now, I'm serious.
Okay.
So now they've got the teeth. Of course, they all go to that car. I'm like, okay, let me explain. This is inspiration. This is just a look-alike. They don't care. It's got teeth.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Pixar was kind enough to go ahead and drop that off and let it sit there for you.
No. Our partners went and found that truck.
Okay.
I think they got it from Branson, to be honest with you, from a museum. So they went and got it and brought it back.
Then we
That's
did have
great.
people come through, though.
Well,
They came through.
Second time.
Yeah, second time. They came through in 2013 and stayed with us and interviewed us. They were only supposed to be there an hour, but they got stuck with me for 5.
It wasn't
No.
It wasn't
No.
quite 5. She's exaggerating. But she wouldn't shut up. And so the producer asked me if I'd walk up the street, show other things so that Melba could talk. So
Yeah, so she stopped correcting me every few seconds.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, I don't know.
So these partners, are they the same people that helped redo the bordello across the street?
Yes, sir. They are.
Let's show a picture of that real quickly. So I've got a before and after picture. Now this picture I shot, I know was really old because it was really small. And back in the day, I wasn't smart enough to take the biggest pictures possible. I thought I was conserving space. So yeah, it was really dumb. So I had to run it through my software to make it big enough to make it look like it was anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you could drop a Volkswagen Bug through that hole in the roof of that house.
That roof, yeah.
What a mess.
The funny thing is when we first opened for women, I would be over there doing inventory or cleaning up, and there would be flashlights going all through that building. And Miss Betty owned that. She wanted to make it a English tea house. And so I would call the law, and the police would come down, and these people would be in there, and they were hunting for ghosts. They said this place is haunted, and they had their little EVPs or whatever. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah. So I called Miss Betty and said, Miss Betty, these people want to check out the Victorian house, is what we called it at that time, the Victorian house. And she said, oh, I don't know. She said, I'm just worried they're going to get hurt. It's in bad shape. And the guy hollered out, we'll pay her. And she said, well, how much will they pay? So we started letting ghost hunters go in there before it was restored. Well, when Miss Betty passed away, and our partners came in, I talked to one of the partners and I said, that place over there there's always people hunting for ghosts over there. Why don't you take that and restore it? He said, have you seen that thing? He said, there's crows and pigeons flying out of that thing. And I said, yeah, but come inside with me. So we went inside, and there was a beautiful, gorgeous staircase in there and sliding doors. I mean, you could see the dirt floor in some areas, but it was beautiful. And I said, don't look at it for what it is, look at it for what it could be. And he said, oh, I don't know. He said, I'll think about it. Well, so Larry, the owner, Courtney, because that was Betty's son, talked him into buying it. Did some trading, so the guy bought it. Well, he said, I don't know, I'll probably just demo it. So I went out of town for about a week and came back, and he was leveling it up and restoring it. My nephew, Melba's son TJ, was the one that did most of the work on it. They had to put chains on both sides of the building to level it back up. and
Pull it
then
back up, yeah.
and they just went from there. And so the funny part is, and you can't see it in that picture, but there was a big tree in the old picture. There's a big tree in front, and Empire District came and cut most of that tree down, and so it started dying. So my partner went and had a gentleman. Well, yeah, you can see it. Put crows on it, and there's like 9 crows there on that tree
Carved
stump.
it with a chainsaw.
Yeah, chainsaw carving. And I came back and he was painting the house gray, and I said, "What are you doing? A gray house?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Look at the tree stump." And I said, "A bunch of crows?" And he said, "Yeah, Renee." He said, What's a group of crows? What's a gathering of crows?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "It's a murderer." I said, "Oh." So he said, "That's going to be the Galena haunted murderer." Bordello. I can't even say it. And see, she interrupts me. And so that's what he called it. And it is haunted. Me and Melba will both tell you we've been in there. Melba was so afraid she ran out screaming. But now a local resident is living in there, and she says she's not afraid at all.
She got more guts than I got. Yeah, there's the crows.
Yeah, that's an early picture of the crows. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so
beautiful.
I didn't know that either until I happened across that wooden carved sculpture, and I was like, "That's really cool." And I think it was Melba that quizzed me on that. I said, "Yeah, I have no idea what a flock of crows is called." And you said a murder. I said, "Oh, a murder of crows."
Yeah.
So hence the name, the Murder Bordello.
And then the picture on the front of the young lady, the nude, that was such a storm here.
Oh my goodness.
I'm the city clerk, and we had a council meeting. There was like 5 or 6 elderly ladies that had came and said, make him take it down. It's a nudie. It's a nudie. And so my my mother-in-law, who's now 82, she's probably about 76 then. She said, "It looks like a woman with long johns on." And then the gentleman, his name is Roy Durfelt, he's passed away, but he was the coroner for Cherokee County for a long time. He has a funeral home here. He's the one that told me what was on that corner. And he said, across the street was a White Rose gas station that Mr. Bradshaw owned. And Mr. Bradshaw was very friendly with everybody. If you couldn't stay, especially during the Depression, if they had kids, he would get them a room at the Banks Hotel, which is where our gas station is. That whole block was a big hotel called the Banks. Mr. Bradshaw would pay for a room for families over there. And he said, and then that little station right there was the Dairy King. And he said, and that house right there, that was a brothel. I said, "Roy, a brothel?" And he said, "Yeah, that was a brothel." He said, "When I was young," he said, "my mom and me would walk down and take my dad a bucket to the mines down in Hell's Half Acres. And we'd walk down the hill, and my mom would hold my hand and said, 'Don't you look over there. Don't you look over there.' And then on the way back," and he said the ladies would stay on, there was a balcony, and they would stand on the balcony where that stained glass is, and they'd throw their hankies out there. And that would give the miners the excuse to knock on the door to return the hankies. So it's really.
Well, it's true that it was a bordello.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then after that, it was a nursing home.
Yeah, it was a brothel, then a nursing home, and then a residence. People lived there for a while.
So
It's
you
always
said
fun
that
to
there's
see.
going to be somebody moving into it. They used to do tours there. I remember doing a tour of it probably back in 2014.
Yeah.
Is that even possible at all to tour the house at all anymore?
Not at this time.
Not
That
this
young
time.
lady is living there, and she doesn't even like people to park on the side of the road. She tolerates tourists, but she loves it. She loves the house, and
It's
yeah,
gorgeous inside.
yeah. I wouldn't mind having the tours again too, but not until this young lady moves out.
So, but your partner, he still owns it, I guess. He's renting it out.
He still owns it, but the father of the young lady that lives there is a partner as well, and he owns
Okay,
it.
that makes sense. Well, I don't remember taking too many pictures of the inside of that building, and I don't even know if I took video because I thought I'll always come back again. I remember when that was. Now it was in 2013
Mhm.
during the Route 66 festival out of Joplin, and
Yep, when we got our partners.
Yep.
I kept thinking to myself, no, I'll come back and do another tour and I'll get more video. I'll do a YouTube video on it. And then just like I tell my viewers and stuff and all my friends, get those pictures and get those videos when you can, because there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. I don't think I ever did. I think I only got a handful of pictures of the outside.
I think there's a group called After Midnight Paranormal Investigations, AMPI. And I don't know if they still have their site up or not, but they have all kinds of videos of what went on in that house, both before and after it was restored. So,
well, that'd be interesting. We'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll throw a link up on the Facebook page, Facebook group when we get done.
She didn't tell you the most important part. Inside the house is actually in the stained glass, as a joke from one partner to another, are crows. He wanted crows in the house as much as possible to get to her, because she talked him to buying the house. So there's crows in the stained glass above the doors. There's crows here and there through the whole house, just to get back at her. So she did tell you that part.
Well, whoever your partners are, I got to thank them for doing everything they've done on Route 66. It's very, very helpful, and I'm happy that they stepped in and have done everything that they've done. I want to take a break real quick. This is the part of the show where we go into our picture of the week, and we've got a couple of people here that we choose. I try to get it down to one, but there's so many great submissions that it makes it difficult sometimes to choose just one. So if you're interested in posting pics that could be up on the show, or even video, because I'll show people's videos on the show too, go into our Route 66 Facebook group, 66 Minutes. And that's where we will pick photos and videos from viewers and post them on the show. So George, let's show the first one. And I apologize in advance if I mess up the name, but it's from Maureen O'Neill Dennis, and this is Elmer's Bottle Tree Ranch out in California. This is a place, Elmer's long gone. He died a few years back, but his Bottle Tree Ranch is just amazing. If I'd been more prepared for the show, I could have brought video and stuff out. I think I did do a YouTube video some years ago live, maybe a Facebook video live of Elmer's Bottle Tree Ranch. It's just a wide expanse of wine bottles and glass bottles, all decorated as trees and sculptures and all sorts of stuff. It's just really neat. It's just a maze of glass. And during the later hours, when you get into that, what photographers refer to as the golden hour, you can get a lot of great photos like Maureen is taking here. She's got this, the sun in the background. You can kind of see it emanating through the glass bottles, those green glass bottles. So pretty cool. The next one's from a buddy of mine, and it's out of Gallup, New Mexico. And every time I go by this place, I take pictures of it. And there's more pictures too, if you want to see in the Route 66 group, 66 Minutes. He's got more pictures. That's John Jimenez. And that's the old beer distributor company there in Gallup, New Mexico. And I don't even know if Schlitz is a brand you can get anymore, but it's got that old timey advertising, which is really cool to see. And they keep that building up really nice. And it's just a little time warp, a little time capsule. So thanks for sharing those pictures. I really appreciate that. George, let's see if we've got any more chats going on. Anybody out there want to ask Melba or Renee any questions, or give any comments, or share any dirt maybe? We got anything out there, George?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of lying. I think everybody's just listening to you right now. I don't know why. I feel like maybe it's because you got a lot to say.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
She talks a lot.
We talk a lot.
Let's see. We got
which one of you is older?
Oh, Rich. Boo.
Love you, Rich. Love you.
I was gonna guess Renee, and I figured Melba had to compensate over all these years with their mouth to kind of get over the older sister.
She acts older than me. Okay, now I'm the oldest, but she acts like she's the oldest.
Really? So you're the oldest?
I am the oldest. Yes.
Oh wow!
I'm retired. I retired at 62, and I'm 64.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But thanks, Rich. I love you too.
I was just trying to figure out why she
Look at that.
All right, here we go. Melba, do you still have that chunk of Galena that got tossed through your window when you were renovating 4 Women on the Route?
Yeah, that was kind of what it is we found out that they didn't want us to repair it. They didn't want us to increase their property value. They didn't want us to up their taxes. And I always tell them, we're not going nowhere. I mean, we had people shoot out windows. We had that rock, the big chunk of Galena that came through. I kept it as a souvenir.
I was gonna say, yeah, so the answer is yeah, she kept it.
I'm sorry. I have to explain everything. And,
It was just a giant brick or a rock someone threw.
No, it was a piece of Galena. It was a bunch of,
it was
a rock with a big chunk of Galena.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there's a silver lining to that, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you.
We don't know what happened to that.
I saw it says, "Are you going to open cars soon?" We are. Right now, it's going through some renovation. A lot. Once I got in there, I found that there was more work that needs to be done. But my 2 sons and daughter are going to open it up as a restaurant and have souvenirs in it. So we need a greasy hamburger restaurant in Galena, and then they're trying to get my husband to. My husband's an excellent smoker on the grill, so they're trying to get him to smoke meat. So
he used to cook for Spring River Inn, which is a really good place here. And anytime anybody needs meat, all they gotta do is get to her or get on my Facebook. Even though I'm supposed to be retired, she keeps forgetting that. I still love and come and see the people and talk to them. I love coming to buses. I love talking to people. I still get the French benefits of good-looking guys give me a hug. I love that. Yeah. So, and even though
there's your answer. She's coming back to work.
And even though
someone just asked that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. She's not getting paid though. She's just gonna I'm not paying her.
There'll be a big tip jar, guys. Okay.
So you guys put that grill in there. You guys put that grill back in there. That was about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember having a burger there.
Yeah.
Well, we for a long time had a Reuben sandwich that was voted in a local magazine as the best Reuben sandwich in the 4-state area for about 2 years running. So we had a really big menu at one time.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Any sort of timeline as to when you might be opening?
Well, they just had a meeting tonight at my house. We had a smash burger dinner, and so the garage door is falling completely apart. It's it's the original one, and we tried to keep it up, but it's just it's almost crumbling. So
time for a new door.
Yeah, needs a new door. So they was discussing, my oldest son's in the Air Force, my youngest son is in the Army over in Hawaii, the lucky dog, and my daughter is a CPA. She does finances. So they're not rich, so they're working on figuring out how they're going to come together and fix the door. And then the Ansel, the hood that the girl has, it's got to be repaired, and just little things that they're going to touch up on before they get it open.
I mean, we could do things like paint and what we can. We've got carpenters in the family that'll help us and stuff. Kind of basically when we started out the first time, we had a lot of help, and we're going to do it again. I mean,
I can't wait. I'm ready for what you got. I mean, I love any excuse to stop through that area. I used to like to stop at. I looked forward to Cafe on the Route there in Baxter.
Yeah.
I mean, for years, they had some of the best food you could get. I love Galena. I love Baxter Springs because you get that honest to God hometown feel. I mean, it's a time warp. You could just sit back and imagine being in 1952 or something. I mean, it really is neat.
Yeah, and I hope we don't change. I think it's awesome. Baxter's going through some changes, but they're going to catch up. I wish Cafe on the Route would open back up, but my understanding is that they're not going to open up for a while. The lady that owns that whole section is kind of at a standstill right now. So she had that museum there and shut that down. So we're hoping that they bring something back in there.
You mentioned earlier, Melba, that you mentioned the Spring River Inn. You guys want to elaborate anything on that at all? Most people out there probably have no idea what that is, and I should.
We've all worked there.
So Spring River Inn was a smorgasbord right there on Spring River, right in Riverton, Kansas. My husband worked there since he was 13. Then I got a job as a salad girl, and then I got Melba a job, and she was one of the top waitresses. They called her Cricket. She drove me crazy. So
I did all the commercials.
So she's been driving me crazy for years. But we do have the Spring River Inn neon sign back. It's hard getting any funds to repair something. It is in really bad shape. So we're working on that. But Spring River Inn was one of the best restaurants around. It used to be a resort for Joplin, the Joplin elite. It was also like a getaway for one of the presidents, is what Judy Burke had told us one time. So it was a really cool place. It caught on fire and burned down, but it did employ a lot of the teenagers in this area.
It was also known for supposed to have the best barbecue chicken and what was called a pull apart.
Yeah.
Cinnamon roll.
It's like monkey bread.
Like monkey bread.
Yeah,
there's a sign.
That's the place.
Yeah, I found a picture of the sign that I shot back in 2010. I got it up on the screen right now for those that are interested. You guys have that sign in your possession, I guess, right?
I do. Yes, we do. And we've taken over to Miami, and we got a price on getting it repaired. The box needs to be repaired, so we're going to get I guess that's what you call it, the box repaired, and then take it back over for Cody to at Allen Signs to maybe get the neon done for us.
Any idea on how much the cost is?
He quoted me like $8,000 at one time. That's where he was going to repair it all, including the box. So if we can get the box done, I have a gentleman that said he's going to do the box for me, and then we'll take it back to Cody, and he'll give me another price on it.
Can people donate? Can they go onto your website or anything and donate?
They certainly can. At one time, I had a GoFundMe, and I think we got $400 still set aside for that. But yes, they can. They can go on the Kansas Historic Route 66 Association, and or they can contact Flo Collins, which is on there. She is my treasurer, and she can give them the information on where the money is at, what bank it needs to go to.
Yeah, so people, right there, if you can scan that barcode, that QR code, right there, that'll take you to the Kansas Route 66 Facebook page. I'm sure there's a link there someplace that'll get you to their actual website, or you can just Google it, Kansas Route 66. You don't even need to scan that thing.
Right.
But go in and chip in 10 or 20 bucks or $100 and let's relight that sign. That's
it's really the only neon. There is neon in Baxter Springs that I believe the Missouri Association was working with a gentleman at a
old bank sign.
Yeah. But I think those are the only neons that was really here that I know of. Mike Pendleton told me of another one, but I can't remember which one it was. And I think it was a gas station, and it was torn down. So
yeah, that was torn down.
So
they had about new things. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they had a question on there while I go, Rich, about new things in Galena. We do have a couple of new things in Galena, and Renee had a list of them. I was just trying to take her that way.
Cool.
Well, tell me a little bit about Freck. So let's bring him up here. Yeah, so he's part of a whole display that you guys have created just before you come into town. Now, we could show a lot of different pictures or video. As you're coming into town, you cross over that old bridge, and I always tell people, when you get to Kansas, there's a very distinct change in landscape as soon as you cross over that yellow brick road that you guys have there at the state line. But that bridge rolls out like an open mat, and that's one of the first thing people see is they're going to see Freck, and they're going to see Luigi's Pit Stop. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so the same gentleman that is my partner donates this property to me to let me do whatever I want to it. So first thing we started was the sheriff's car. That really is a tribute to Michael Wallace, because he is the one that helped us with the tomato and everything. So we put him up on a pedestal. Michael signed the driver's side door for us, and then we put him up on the pedestal. And then it just kind of snowballed. We just started adding. A gentleman from FEMA came up to me at Cars one day and said, "Hey, are you the crazy lady that has all the cars?" And I said, "Well, I guess if that's what you want to call me." He had the little Fiat in the back of his truck. It's a whole Fiat, and he said, "Well, I want to donate this to you because I know it looks like that character." He said, "But you need to keep it inside." And he said, "Can you keep it inside?" And I said, "Well, I'll try my best." So I got him half in, half out. That's the best I could do. So that's Luigi. And then 2 years ago, I have a nephew that lives in Crocker, Missouri, which is right by Waynesville. He actually works in Waynesville. He's a big Route 66 fan, and I can say his name. We call him Mr. Payne. His name
Mr.
is
Payne.
Mr. Payne. His name is Jimmy. He actually works at the O'Reilly in Waynesville. So if anybody's past the frog, anyway, he gave me a Camaro. Just gave it to me. Of course, it didn't have an engine in it. And then my son, um, who's an engineer, did the face for me and then painted him for us. So it was 2 years ago, right, that we put Lightning McQueen out there because the kids were all saying, "Where's Lightning at? Where's Lightning at?" So we put Lightning out there. So
That's pretty good.
Frex took me 2 years. I say me. I suckered everybody I could to help me build Frex. Frex is a tribute to my grandfather, who was a miner in the tri-state area. His name was John Melbourne. That's where Melba gets her name, Busick. But they called him Frex because he too was a redhead and had freckles all over his face. So Frex is short for freckles. I have 15 grandchildren, so they all contribute to building Frex. But sadly, last year in June, he got caught on fire and burnt down. So
how did he catch on fire? I don't have any. I should have grabbed some video or pictures of that. I know you had some, but
yeah, so his pickaxe right there was basically his shoulder was becoming disconnected because of the weight of the pickaxe. So one of my friends who actually worked for the city got up there and was trying to weld the pickaxe back, and it dropped inside where his shoulder was, and he caught on fire inside out.
The sparks.
Yeah, so the sparks did. So
poor Frex.
I cried for days.
We're doing it again, though. She's got another one started. I got another one started.
Yeah, I got Frex 2.0, and Jerry Mack told me, he said, "You better get him done," because he wanted to put him in his second book, Frex, and right as Frex burnt down, he told me, "You need to get Frex 2.0. So that's what I'm working on, Frex 2.0.
Frex 2.0. Well, we can't wait to see it. And again, everybody out there watching, go on and donate to that Kansas Route 66 Association. They could use your money. They've only got about 13 miles there, so they don't have a ton of revenue coming in. So
we don't.
Everything they do there is by donation. So as much help as you can give and extend, we would all appreciate that. The whole Route 66 community would appreciate it. I want to go into the tip of the day. This will be a short one, but an important one, I think. We're starting to see this more and more over the last, I think, 5 to 10 years. My tip of the day is really, what kind of a legacy do you want to leave behind as you're traveling Route 66? It's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but seeing all the graffiti and the stickers plastered all over everything, it's really not becoming a Route 66. It's kind of trashy looking. Now, we all enjoy, I can't say we all do. Most of us enjoy Cadillac Ranch out in Amarillo, Texas. And that seems to have always been like an appropriate playground for, sketching your name on with some spray paint or something. But this picture we show right here is the historic Route 66 of Illinois sign right there in Chicago. And it's just plastered with stickers. It looks horrible. It looks absolutely horrible. And is that the Route 66 people want to visit? Is trashy and graffiti? If you want to leave a legacy, then go put some posts on Facebook, or go do some YouTube videos, or do your Instagram posts. Those are things that will emanate forever. and may inspire people to travel and things like that. And I'll be honest. So I have done this before. I have done it. I've put stickers on signs and stuff. And going back, I wish I wouldn't have. I really wish I would not have done that. I didn't do it a lot. Probably did it less than, this many times on my hand. I could count it. It's just not a very becoming thing at all. And I think it's pretty annoying to those that want to get a picture. They don't want to see your name or your emblem or your whatever in their picture. They want to have the natural Route 66 in their picture. So I think people should lay off on the stickers and lay off on the graffiti. I think I had one other picture there too, guys. I don't know. I was kind of poking fun at this a couple of years ago. I was going to do a video on it. So I actually went and did a little pose and stuff like that. I don't know if it's still in there. Maybe. Oh, yeah. There you go. Right there. We'll let that load up. What are you famous for? And, we had people that went around spray painting things. Now, I'll be honest. I'm famous for spray painting Route 66 shields on the pavement. And I did do a couple of buildings. I did the Cadiz Summit, which is, again, covered with graffiti, has been for ages. And that Route 66 shield has endured. It's been there since about 2010. I've touched it up a couple times, and it just seems to not get touched by anybody. So I appreciate the respect for that. I also painted a bridge abutment going into Sebulpa. That, again, was covered with graffiti. And I thought, well, maybe this will make it look a little nicer. But those are the only two structures I've ever painted. Otherwise, I painted on the pavement, and I encourage the cities to go around and do their Route 66 stencils on the road too. And I see you ladies have a stencil behind you there in the background. Looks very similar to the ones that I do.
That is yours.
Is it? Okay. Well, there you go. So, the stencils on the ground, when I first started doing that, I caught a little bit of flack for that. And I can understand why, but so many signs were getting stolen. And, you can't steal the sign off the ground if it's painted. And I'll tell you, again, coming back to that bridge, we could show a video of that, George, where we come into Galena, where you see that bridge for the first time. Those shields have been painted on the ground forever. And I think Dean Walker may have had a hand in that, or somebody.
Yes.
And that the first time I saw those was like in 2003 or 2004. I didn't even know if I was on 66. Yeah, there's the bridge right there. And you'll see as the drone pans over, if you look down towards the beginning of that bridge, you'll see some very vague Route 66 shields on both directions, little white dots on the road. Those rolled out to me like a welcome mat. I had no idea whether or not if I was even on Route 66, because there was no GPS back then. I didn't even know there was books dedicated to Route 66. I was just trying to use old maps, and seeing those shields on the road just validated that I was in the right place. And it was a very warm, welcoming feeling when I saw those shields for the first time. So that's what inspired me to do that. In case there's any confusion out there, I don't want to seem like a hypocrite, because
we get a lot of travelers that appreciate that. They come through and they say, "We're so happy to see it on the street because we've been lost."
So I want to iterate. So those have been on there. Those have been there for a long time. Dean, our friend Jay Foraker, they started painting them on there because exactly what you said. They never had shields or signs, and when they did get them, they were stolen. Kansas, the tourism part of Kansas, doesn't really. I mean, they're acknowledging it now, but back then did not acknowledge the 13.2 miles of 66 in Kansas. So they wasn't giving signs. And it took us till 2012, I believe it was, to become a historic byway. And the other thing I want to iterate is it's like a gentleman had stated in the comments, it's Kansas Historic Route 66 Association. We do have two, for the smallest alignment, we do have two associations. We all get along well now. I don't know what the past was. I am the president, have been the president for quite a while. You see all the gray hairs, but we have two associations. the one I'm president of is the Kansas Historic Route 66 Association. Scott Nelson, who has the Old Riverton store, great place to go, love it. He's done a lot for 66. His is the Kansas Route 66 Association. So there are two associations.
We're only 13.2 miles.
Any
chance you guys might consolidate together?
We have talked about it, and I think the past is the past. Scott tells me you're doing fine, but I don't have very many members, and I know he doesn't. So we at some point I believe that's what we're going to do. Is just
I think that would be excellent to get you guys together and pull the two groups together and use each other's resources to get more membership. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I'm sure it'll happen. We just haven't done it yet.
Well, that's okay. Route 66 is always evolving, so
Yeah.
I always found it interesting that there was two associations in Kansas for the smallest section of road.
I do want to tell you, out there at Luigi's Pit Stop, I'm currently working on, and it's the Galena High School, as well as some of the stockholders, Kim Lee, which is a manufacturing company here, Gary Rose, Jimmy Adams, who has the Molly here, which is a really nice place, and he has a B&B in the back. They've all contributed to getting one of those signs like Kingman, Arizona has, where you drive through it and you get your picture. So we're getting one out there at the Luigi's Pit Stop. And then also at Luigi's Pit Stop, we have a board that you can put your stickers on and sign your name. Like Gary Turner had at Gay Parade, and I think he still has it there, so that people don't stick the stickers on our windows or whatever. So
I mean, sometimes people encourage that. I know, like Fran, she had the old red Ford pickup out there in front of the Sunflower Station, which when she owned both the Midpoint and the Sunflower Station, and she encouraged people to autograph the truck. And when those situations are sanctioned, and it becomes an opportunity. But
I agree, it just doesn't look good if it's
trashy.
all over the signs or the windows or what have you. It just doesn't look good.
In fact, I would encourage people, when you see a sticker, a single sticker, just one, when you see one sticker on a sign, I would encourage you to peel it off.
Yeah.
Peel it off. Yeah. So there's what you're talking about. You guys are looking at getting one of these drive-through signs that Kingman has, and Grants, New Mexico has one too.
Yes, I was trying to think of it was Grants. Yeah. So we're trying to get one here in the Midwest, so that you can take photos like that. So working really hard on it. I'm really proud of everybody here in Kansas that's working to get it done. So we'd have something.
Well, I can't wait to see that. With the Centennial Commission amongst all these different states, there's a lot of talk about lots of different photo opportunities and things like that. And, Missouri doesn't have anything like that to date. And that would be really cool to see that in Springfield or Joplin or Carthage or any of our towns, Rolla. That would be excellent to see something like that.
Yes. I work really well with Patrick Tuttle in Joplin and Amanda Davis in Miami. We're all by ourselves here, and we're a very small alignment. So they do, help Kansas out in that aspect. Like the Yellow Brick Road, Patrick said, we got to do something out here. And so he did that. And then Amanda, when they started repairing or cleaning up the Ribbon Road, our commissioner, Pat Collins, who's restored the viaduct, the Galena Bridge, and restored the Marsh Arch Bridge, he said, I'll bring all my street sweepers I got in the county, come over and help you. So it's really good when you have that kind of partnership to do things on our section here. Share the love. That's what I always say. So
it's funny you brought up the Ribbon Road, because right now the Ribbon Road is, some people would say it's ready for preservation and restoration. Some other people would say it is being threatened by those same forces, that we might end up losing it.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. Right now, the Ribbon Road is supposed to be undergoing restoration efforts which actually threaten the characteristics of how that road is identified. They want to grind the whole entire road up and repave it.
Oh, that's crazy. That's too crazy.
That's what I thought. So we're going to show a picture of that right there. That's the Ribbon Road right there. That's an older image. That I would say that image is from about 13 to 15 years ago. I wish it looked that good today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now the people in charge are saying we're going to grind the whole thing up and we're going to repave it with the same asphalt. We're going to recycle the asphalt, which, by the way, I'm an asphalt guy. I've been doing asphalt for over 40 years, so I know just a little bit about asphalt. And that's not how it's going to work out, people. You're going to have a brand new looking strip of pavement that looks just like any other bicycle path in this world, and it is going to lose all of its historic character that we all have grown to love over the years. So we're going to talk about that more in upcoming episodes, but I'm glad you touched on it because I wasn't even going to talk about it tonight.
Well, you're welcome.
You never can tell what's come out her mouth.
So
yet.
do you guys have any tips or any sort of advice for people traveling Route 66 or people that are contemplating doing their own restoration like you guys have done so well?
Just know you got to really love the road. You know, you don't make millions. You definitely don't get rich by putting a business or restoring a business on 66. It's purely out of love. We enjoy it. Sometimes it drives my husband crazy. I know it drove my children crazy because they was all involved when we first started, and they just like you saw earlier, they're still involved. My son had to come and get this system working for me. So, and you know, Shelby with Melba, and then the young roadie with my granddaughter is trying to keep the young roadies going. So it's a love. It definitely is a love. We have a gentleman, and I hope everybody knows Aaron. Aaron, he is so excited about his Texaco station, which he has done awesome. I mean, it's awesome.
He's adding something new every week,
Yeah,
Aaron Perry is.
All the time.
Down there at Gearhead Curios, yeah.
So, and he's not from Kansas, but he's loving it. He's trying very hard to get involved in everything. So, my advice, and I'll let Melba give her own. My advice is you gotta love it. You gotta love the road, and you know, once it gets in your blood, you can't get it out. And
Amen.
and then the roadies like Brenda and Rita and Penny, and you know, they become family. You know, sisters from another mister is what Brenda Sinclair says. But they do. They become family, and you miss them when you don't see them, and you laugh at when they do good things, and you cry when something happens. So it's in your blood, and it stays in your blood. And I wish everybody, especially the young people out there, get involved and like Rich here, he's a young, and get involved and do things and promote it, because it does need promoted and protected. So
For sure.
I think my main thing is that when you approach 66, you have to do it with an open mind. You can't be set in, well, this needs to be here and this needs to be. No, you have to have an open mind. You have to be willing to learn something new every day. I miss that a lot. I miss when I was at the station, people would come in, I would learn something every day. And the young people, I would love the young people when they would come in. My biggest thing was to get that toy game out of their hand and start telling them a story, and they're like, well, really? Wow. So
we're getting advice from like Gary Turner to just sell
Dale bread and hot dogs. I used that man to call me every morning. Melba, you know, you make a lot of money if you sold Dale bread and hot dogs.
I miss Gary. He was a hoot. So I got one last question that Mr. Gomez, who's a good friend of mine out of the Albuquerque area, he wants to know if there is a name of the madam who ran the bordello.
Yes, it was Madam Staffelbeck. So there's controversy around that, but Madam Staffelbeck had several houses around here, just not in Galena, from what we understand. But But Madden Staffelback was the name of the lady that they believed ran that bordello.
Yeah, and I got to play her in a play.
That was fun.
It was fun.
That's pretty awesome. Well,
Yeah.
there's always something new to discover and learn on Route 66. That's one of the reasons why we do this show. And Melba and Renee, I just want to thank you for being on the show tonight, but also more than anything, you guys have been one of the driving forces behind keeping Kansas Route 66 alive. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have inspired me to do what it is I do with my preservation efforts. And hopefully this will kind of keep cascading and inspiring other people to do more along Route 66 and to get vested in Route 66 so that we can keep it around for decades to come.
It's not going nowhere.
It takes a village, and it takes a bunch of roadies, but I think we'll keep it going, I promise.
Well, I appreciate it. So we are at the end of the show. We're going to go ahead and sign off the ladies here. I'm going to just give our viewers a quick couple of reminders. And as always, you guys share these videos, put them all over the Facebook groups. We want everyone to see this. We're not selling anything. We're not hawking anything. This is all just good old entertainment and information for those that want to know more about Route 66. So thanks, Renee. Thanks, Melba, for coming on tonight. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks. We appreciate it.
All right. That was a fantastic show. I really appreciate them coming on last second. I was out of town almost entirely last week, so I had very little time. Big thanks to the Georges for helping to produce the show, George the Fourth and George the Fifth. Without them, this would have been a complete mess tonight. So they did a great job tonight. Big thanks to them. See us every Sunday night at 7 p.m. You can follow me all over the place, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, even on Twitch. And we're getting the website back up and going. I think we got it up tonight. So be sure to try to donate to our efforts at hookedonroute66.com. If you can't find a place to donate at hookedonroute66.com, you can always visit one of my project sites like the Shamrock 66 page. That will also go to the same type of charities. So please donate to the Shamrock Motel in Sullivan, Missouri, and that's at shamrock66.com. I think that's about it. Just subscribe and hit that little notification button. If you want to see more of these videos, go to that YouTube channel, check out that live category. You'll see all of our past episodes that we've live streamed. So, okay, I'm Roamin Rich. As always, I'll see you guys down the road. Go your own way.